Hey guys, so last week we took a look at the magic of the underpainting. We went in depth about what an underpainting is, how it can make a huge difference to your finished product, and also how we might push the idea of an underpainting to include hue shifts and color variations that you may not include when direct painting. In case you missed that video, I will link it up here in the card. Make sure you go watch that and then come back here because today we're going to take that a step further. Today we're going to go into the overpainting. I don't know if that's a thing, but it is now. But today we're essentially going to use the underpainting as a value and color picking layer in order to create a more vibrant painting on top of it, using the actual true colors that we want in our finished portrait. I've actually gone through the painting process before I'm recording this bit, and let me tell you, it is so fun to create vibrant tones once you have your hues and value painting underneath it. We're not going to use any fancy techniques, just a plain round brush and a couple of blending modes if needed. As always, if you enjoyed this video and learned something today, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. And you can always come say hello on social media. All my links are in the description below. Alrighty, let's now get into the magic of the overpainting. So as a quick reminder, last week we started working on this painting of this character stood in a field of dandelions. We're aiming for super warm tones, very bright sunlight, and also some cooler bounce light to hit the shadow side of her face and arm. Now, my biggest worry about this painting was the flowers. I don't paint flowers. It just doesn't seem to make sense in my head the way painting anything else does. I can't tell you why, because I don't understand it either. I can do leaves and trees and people and fur and rock and fabric, but flowers seem to bamboozle the hell out of my brain. So why would I do a painting based entirely upon something I don't know how to paint? The answer is simple. I don't like not knowing how to do something. It triggers my stubborn gene and makes me a little obsessive. I had to figure out how to paint flowers. So, of course, I started with the hardest challenge, which was to paint several flowers that like to grow very close to each other and have a lot of very small petals. At what point does ambition just turn into masochism? But here's the great thing about painting flowers. They are an easy, repetitive element, meaning you just have to paint a couple of really good ones and you can duplicate and rotate, flip, or resize those a bunch of times to create a whole field of flowers. Because if you think I'm going to sit here and paint every single flower when copy paste exists, I mean, I'm ambitious, but I am not patient. One little detail I learned while painting flowers though is they're a microcosm of atmospheric perspective in that the petals of a flower that are further away from you will be brighter while the ones that are closer up are a little more shadowy. I think it might be because the really bright petals reflect so much light within the center of the flower, but it was just a really cool detail. One thing I did struggle with was trying to get these flowers to conform to the lighting scenario. How do you create a cool dark shadow in warm bright flowers without dulling all that vibrance? Anyway, having swallowed enough of that frog for the moment, I moved on to the sky. Definitely wanted a bright blue sky, and do you see how that warm underpainting really makes a relatively desaturated blue pop so loud? I went about rendering that large cloud behind her, keeping everything fairly low contrast. We want to make it look like she's in this vast open field, which means the sky is far, far behind her. So thanks to atmospheric perspective, that means the clouds would appear rather low contrast. Spoiler alert, I ended up repainting the entire sky towards the end, and we'll get to that. But I like to share everything I learned along the way with you guys because, like we've learned time and time again, art is in the process and the painting is pretty much a byproduct of art. I tried to preserve some of that hue variation from the underpainting of the cloud, and now we get to the character. I started by refining the form on her face, color picking from the underpainting and working into the near side. I think I was starting to feel a little bit burnt out by the time I got to her face on Monday, because you can clearly tell I struggled with that eye. But that was pretty much to be expected given how long I spent learning to paint flowers. But this was the point where I decided to just jump in and throw a massive patch of bright sunlight right on her face. I've had anxiety for about a week now, and not even being dramatic, this bit genuinely made my heart race. Such exciting lives we lead, I know. But just that one change has immediately switched up the entire vibe of the painting, because the second I put that bright highlight down, I knew she needed to look a lot happier. So I gave her a big wide smile, and yes, now she's getting there. I brought some of that light down to her neck and finally felt ready to tackle the far side of her face. Obviously we're going to have a lot of shadow there, but I wanted to bring out some more of that cool bounce light that we had in the underpainting. And since the sky right by that side of her face is so blue, I went with a bit of blue in the bounce light rather than just sticking to purple from the underpainting. I went ahead and made her mouth a bit bigger, and I've only gone and painted Sabrina Carpenter. See, this is what happens when you listen to Espresso on repeat. You end up with a subconscious Carpenter. She wasn't even in my reference, you guys. How did this even... Anyway, I like how she looks, so we're just gonna roll with it. I think my absolute favorite part of this painting was definitely rendering the hair. We're going nice and blonde for her, but I sometimes find that hair can quickly just become different values of the same color, and that just kind of makes hair look dead and one-dimensional. So I'm extremely glad that we did that underpainting with a bunch of different hues thrown in there, because now the shadowy areas in her hair aren't just like a dark grey blonde, they're actually way more varied. Like, doesn't that subtle smoky purple just add so much unexpected life in there? I went ahead and restructured the back of her hair, made it a lot simpler, and also added some framing locks by the far side of her face. Love how she looks so far. Let's get back to those flowers. With most of the colours and values in place, I realised that the flowers were looking a little out of place. Not only were there too many, they were also just all the wrong colour. I'm gonna be honest, you guys, this bit was the hardest. I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to make them less messy while still making it look like she sat among dandelions in a field, and also make the colours match without losing any of that vibrant warmth. And then I figured, hey, what if we make a super simple change and just take the flowers down a little bit? Dude, almost immediately, the composition started to make way more sense. Because now it looks like the flowers are closer up in the foreground while the character is pushed back into the midground. It's the quickest little shift, but do you see how it instantly added a ton of depth to the scene? Also, that one flower on screen left was really bothering me, so I got rid of it and just duplicated the existing ones to populate the foreground. And at this point, I tried so many ways to try and get the flowers to match the scene and just had it dull the vibrance that I thought, might as well try to get the scene to match the flowers instead. And boom, now it's cohesive. Man, it's almost insulting how simple the solution can be sometimes, but for whatever reason, the simplest solution rarely presents itself first. But then we've lost the vibrance in that blue sky, and to be honest with you, the background in general was starting to feel like a bit much. So I just made a new layer, flattered the whole thing blue, and started over with the sky. We're gonna try and keep it simple this time around. A bit of yellow transition right where the horizon of the field would lie, and just some simple white clouds. Much as I love the idea of the holographic colours in the clouds, there's already enough going on in the rest of the scene. The too much gene will not win today.
The too much gene will not win today.
Never mind. I figured instead of hand painting the abstract specs to show the field receding into the background, I might as well duplicate, resize, rotate, and flip the flowers, paint them a little hazy, and stick them behind our character. Even more depth of field, and it looks like a lot more effort went into the piece than I've actually made. So this is our painting so far. It actually came together surprisingly well at the end there. Let me know what you guys think. She's not quite done yet. The next time we work on this painting, we're going to add some fun finishing touches. However, that will have to wait because next week is style study time. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and have your notifications on so you know when it drops. Of course, if you enjoyed this video and learned something today, please remember to like and comment below. And you can come say hello on social media. I have Instagram, Discord, and Kara, and links to all of those are in the description below. If you like what I do and would like to support my channel and also grab exclusive rewards every single week, including all of my speed paints from start to finish, the step-by-step progressions for all of my paintings, my custom extended brush kit with over 60 custom brushes that I made from scratch, as well as prints of my work every few months. It is all up on my Patreon. Your support on there allows me to keep making all this content for YouTube, so I will leave a link up here in the cards and in the description, and thank you so much for checking it out. Alrighty, you guys, that's about everything for today, so thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If you're looking for another really fun art tutorial, you might enjoy this video from a little while back where we took a look at painting drama and romance into your backgrounds of your portraits. There's a lot to learn from that video, so I will leave it here in the outro. Make sure you check it out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!